members of the higher table, invited guests, my students, member of the press with us today, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As I keep saying, anytime we are gathering in a location like that will bring the town and the gown together for the town to know what we have been doing in our laboratories, our lecture rooms, our theaters, and our offices to be called a professor. Today, the 30th of September and 27th inaugural lecture of GC University, titled Plant Health and Human Survival, a place for pathopathologists. If you have moringa tawasa in your house, now as I speak, probably you understand what this topic is all about. We are having an epidemic of moringa disease. If you have zogale in your house, you see it coloring yellowish now. It is a disease. If you have a mango in your house now as we speak, look at the tree. You see a section of the leaves will keep on drying. Half of the leaf will be dry. That is a plant disease. This only two I mentioned. If you are a villager like myself, or you are a farmer, you probably understand what we mean by plant disease. Plant survival is actually our survival. This tells you how important is plant pathologist to our community. Over 34% of the farm produced are lost as a result of diseases. We don't have enough. We are losing 34%. We are growing. Better imagined than the reality of what will happen. That's what this gentleman has been doing since the time he joined the services of Osumanu Danfodio University as graduate assistant. He will take us through, and I said earlier, science should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. If it becomes simpler, the meaning and the essence will be lost. Inaugural lectures are usually simple to the understanding of all, both those in the field and those that are coming to hear what we do in our laboratories, our offices, our lecture halls, and our theaters. I wish you happy listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Is a professor of botany, born on the 13th day of January 1966. To the family of late Alhaji Muhammad Namadina, may Allah have mercy on him. Enduring Daj, then Zuru local government of Sokoto State, now Sakaba local government of Kebbi State. Is the son of Alhaji Namadina and grandson to the renowned cattle merchant Alhaji Muhammad Dambaduku, of blessed memory. May Allah forgive him and grant him eternal rest. His father, late Alhaji Muhammad Namadina, hails from Gidan Rere, Nkore local government of Sokoto State, and his mother, Haji Arabiatu Muhammad, and Kuku, who hails from Kotarkoshi present-day Bungudu local government area of Zamfara State. Professor Sanusi has contributed immensely in the running of the university system. One time, head of botany, 2003 to 2005, Faculty of Science Examination Officer, 2007, head of biological sciences from 2007 to 2009, and served as chairman, member to many universities committees, such as the chairman, Faculty of Science, Junior Staff Establishment Committee, 2007 to 2009, Faculty of Science Seminar Conference Coordinator, 2005 to 2007, and member, University Monitoring Committee on Special Project, 2005 to 2007, among others. Mr. Chairman, sir, Professor Sanusi at different times served on visiting sabbatical appointment to many universities. He was at Bayero University, Kano, Kano State University of Science and Technology, Wudil, Kano State University, Kaduna State University, Kaduna, University of Ibadan, Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna, Kebbi State University of Science and Technology, Federal University, Birmingham, University of Maiduguri, Federal University, Duse, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, and Makerere University in Uganda, to mention a few. He has assessed over 10 academic staff to the rank of professor in the field of biological sciences. Professor Sanusi has also served as ad hoc chair, member of NUC and MBTE accreditation exercise to over 10 universities and 5 polytechnics across the country. Mr. Chairman, sir, the presenter has contributed to knowledge toward plant health against enemies for humankind and areas of manipulations of the pathogen. It is and many areas of human environment. He has also worked on plant diseases management. As the chairman outrightly mentioned, he worked on many plant disease management through available agricultural waste, such as sawdust, rice husk, chicken droppings, and cow dung, in order to control this pathogen. Mr. Chairman, sir, he also worked on many biological control strategies. At recent publication in over 100 peer-reviewed articles, published textbooks, Introductory Botany, Muhammad and Amuza, 2009, first and second editions are available online. And many copies are available in Urdu, and many sister institutions, libraries across the country. The Success in Biology, first edition, Muhammad et al., 2010. He has also published Dental Horizons, Essential of Oral Health. Muhammad is also available online. These are some of the publications which have proved. So many books are there. He has also contributed into the production of this book, Hospital Infection Control, which he co-authored with me in 2012, is also available online. And some 30 conferences, seminars, paper present within and outside Nigeria. Virtually, he has contributed to all these claims within botany. As a chairman, he was also a guest writer on National Open University. He wrote 5 modules on soil pedology and classification. Modules 1 and 5 are available online. Others include the potential of some plants in the management of wound infections, benefits of Lawsonia enemies, the henna, documented use of medicinal plants. Muhammad and others are also available. He also published on oral hygiene and the use of plants. Muhammad Lawal, Muhammad and others, the health benefit of cola nuts, cola nitida, toxins, chemical residues, detections of aflatoxins from vegetables. These are some of the areas. Now, in terms of community service, Mr. Chairman, Professor Muhammad is the current chairman, Sakaba Local Government Education Authority. Chairman, Sokoto, Chairman, Sokoto Sakabo resident, Secretary General Bayero University Kano, Alumni Association, Sokoto Zonal Chapter. He's also a proprietor the Islamia School and community leader in his community. Sanusi is a member of Alumni Association of University of Ibadan and Usman Danfodio University. Sanusi is member to many scientific and professional societies, both within and outside the country, including the Botanical Society of Nigeria, Nigerian Society of Plant Protection, Mycological Society of Nigeria, Council member, Science Association of Nigeria, and member, National Mycological Institute, Kabi Bioscience Institute of the United Kingdom. Mr. Chairman, our guest lecturer is happily married with 3 wives, Lantana, Radatu, and Mare, and they are union blessed with 14 children. 8 male, Aminu, Anas, Abdurrahman, Abbas, Abdulaziz, Abdullahi, Ibrahim, and Al-Mustafa. And with 6 female, Amina, Asma'u, Aisha, Fatima, Saratu, and Hajra. And at the same time, is also blessed with 2 grandchildren, one named after him, Sanusi and Zuaria. Mr. Vice Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Professor Sanusi Muhammad as he delivers the 27th inaugural lecture of the Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, for this evening. Thank you very much. God bless.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is due to me, subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. May the peace and salutations of Allah be upon the good Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his household and companions. The Vice Chancellor, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Librarian, Bursar, other principal officers of the university, Dean of Postgraduate School, Provost, College of Health Sciences, Dean of other communities here present, Directors of Academic and Non-Teaching Department, Professors and members of the Senate, Head of Department, Academic and Non-Teaching Staff, invited Vice Chancellors and registrars here present, postgraduate and undergraduate students, members of my family, invited guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. It gives me pleasure and satisfaction to be given this opportunity to deliver my inaugural lecture, which I had for long waited to do. I was appointed Professor of Botany on 1st October 2008. Inaugural lecture is a way of letting people know what academic research activities a professor has carried out over the years and what his or her future research plans are. I am happy and excited, but before I go further, I must express my gratitude to the Vice Chancellor, Professor Lawrence Lewis, and his entire administration for sustaining this essential aspect of academic life, and also for providing inaugural lecture and seminar committee, the finance and other support needed to organize this lecture. I thank the chairman of the inaugural committee, Chairman of the Inaugural and Seminar Committee, Professor Ahmed Bako, and his colleagues for organizing this great event. My choice of topic for this inaugural lecture was influenced by prevalent food shortage as a result of plant diseases epidemics in present-day Nigeria. About 34% of the crop produced is lost annually due to diseases, insect pests, and weeds on the global basis. While food production is not a problem for the developed countries, the need for increased crop yield is an urgent issue in Nigeria and many other African countries. Today, most Africans cannot eat well. There is no pretense about this, Africa has more countries with food insecurity problem than any other region in the world. An inaugural lecture is an occasion of significance in an academic staff member career at the university. It provides newly appointed professors with the opportunity to inform colleagues, the campus community, and the general public of their work to date, including the current research and future plans. This lecture is one of a kind over the past 30 years of my career. I have lectured and taught students in different cadres, ranging from secondary school, IJMB, pre-degree matriculation program, undergraduate, postgraduate, including postgraduate diploma, master's, and doctorate degree, and in the process, I carry them through my tutelage process to earn their certificate. It is my honor and privilege to stand before you today, Thursday, 30th day of September 2021, to present my inaugural lecture as a professor of botany. I am happy and delighted that today's inaugural lecture is the series number 27, and today I am exactly 13 years on the professorial chair. 27 and 13 are odd numbers, most loved by Allah. Thursday is a special day of the week, as reported from our noble Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This lecture is special for me in many respects. The first from my unit, Botany, now Department of Plant Science, and of course the first inaugural lecture of Botany from Usman Affodi University. I'm here as a professor of Botany to tell you a little of what I have been professing in the last 13 years. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the inaugural lectures is done in a simplified manner that individuals who do not belong to the same field with the scholar will understand what the lecturer has come to say. For this reason, in this lecture, I will take you briefly through the meaning of botany, botany as a discipline, areas of study in botany, my chosen area of specialization, my contributions to plant health for the well-being of mankind, my contributions to other areas of botany and biological sciences in general, my future research plans, my rough ride through life, Udus, my alma mater, and finally conclusions and recommendations. Botany is a scientific study of plants. Plants, to most people, means a wide range of living organisms. A wide range of living organisms, from the smallest bacteria to the largest living thing, that is the giant square trees. Botany simply means plant science. Plant science is not equal to agric science. Agric is part of plant science. Most universities around the globe are changing the name because plant science covers more area than botany itself. Because we know the science as a discipline, you can hardly define science because you have over 10 definitions of science as a discipline. Each of the definitions depend on the person defining that is the exposure of the person that is defining the science. So science is everything, and that's why we are calling botany as plant science. That is the study of plants in all aspects of plants is botany. So by this definition, plants include algae, fungi, mosses, ferns, conifers, and flowering plants. Today, scientists believe that bacteria, algae, and fungi are in their own distinct kingdom. Botany is one of the branches of life sciences, biology, which is concerned with all aspects of the study of plants. From the study of all aspects of a single plant to the complex interactions of all the different members of a complicated botanical community of plants with their environment and their importance to humanity. Plants are now defined as multicellular organisms that carry out photosynthesis. Organisms that had previously been called plants, however, such as bacteria, algae, and fungi, are continually placed in the province of botany. due to their historical connection with the discipline, similarities with the true plants, because of their practicability of not fragmenting the study of organisms into too many fields. So areas of study in botany. Research in botany has progressed by breaking down the complex subject into its component parts, so that there are numerous branches and fields to study plants and their importance. With the study of plants in botany, the following well-known disciplines which one can get into. We have plant morphology, plant anatomy, cytology, plant taxonomy, physiology, evolution, reproduction, genetics, breeding, ecology, and of course plant pathology. All these branches, they are all applied. You can get applied aspect of anatomy to know which type of plant product do you use for, say, furniture. Which wood is this good for construction in houses, or as electrical pole, or paper, or whatever. Because of time, I will just go on that. So in collaboration with other fields of science, that is applied sciences, there are many more disciplines which are of vital importance to the world population. This includes agriculture, agricultural science, horticulture, agronomy, pharmaceutical science, medical sciences, biochemistry, microbiology, and applied genetic engineering. Historical development of botany. Civilization depends in part on knowledge of plants and their cultivation. Botany was believed to have originated with the first cultivation of crops, probably dated from 9,000 to 7,000 BC. However, man became interested in plants for their own sake, something 2,300 years ago. Botany as a pure science began in 14th century BC with the Greek philosopher Theophrastus, whose treatise on the classification, morphology, and reproduction of plants heavily influenced the discipline until 17th century. Indeed, the development of modern botany actually began to develop about 16th century due to invention of microscope. In the 18th century, the English chemist Joseph demonstrated that growing plants restore air from which oxygen has been removed. And Dutch philosophy in 1730 to 1799 extended this observation by showing that light is required for plants to restore air. This and other discoveries form the basis for botany, for modern plant physiology, that branch of botany dealing with basic plant functions like photosynthesis, respiration, and transpiration. Mr. Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, these three basic physiological functions or activities of plants are necessary for our survival. Photosynthesis, that is process of manufacturing food by green plants using carbon dioxide and water with sunlight trapped by chlorophyll to produce the carbohydrates and oxygen. This oxygen is the one that is recharging the oxygen in the air we breathe. Without this process of photosynthesis, ladies and gentlemen, each and every one of us, you look within yourself and around you. If the product of this photosynthesis be removed from this hall, I'm sure all of us will go out naked, including the Vice Chancellor himself. Because whatever you either be having cloth mixed with leather or cotton, which are the products of plants. What we are sitting on there is plants. In fact, even whatever you eat this afternoon is plant. Because flesh is built from plants. So animals are plants. All flesh is plants. So respiration, without plants, there is no way the food we eat. There is no way you can yield energy out of it, because the oxygen is there for cellular respiration. And this oxygen is from the process of what? Photosynthesis. Another important physiological function of the 7 days a week, continuously by the process of osmosis. I think botany, biological science students knows that. So this water is far, far, far in excess. Plant needed only 2% of the water absorbed. So 98% of the water is excess, but it's not wasted. So the heat in the surrounding will be summed to heat the liquid water from the leaf and escape in form of vapor. So if from this hole now you remove all the heat, that is the concept of air condition. By the time you remove all the heat, what remains? If you go under a shade now, the air will be fresh and the environment will be what? Cooler. So that with that process of transpiration, the excess heat of light and whatever is causing the heat warming, global warming and what have you, will be reduced by transferring the what? The liquid water to vapor form. Humans and plants have complex relationships extended back in our joint evolutionary history. Plants change the trend of evolution because initially the first form of life was said to be heterotrophs, meaning they don't manufacture their own food. They depend on, that is, heterotrophic nutrition. So plants, with the evolution of chlorophyll, began to photosynthesize. And by photosynthesis, they release oxygen. And from there, some organisms now change from anaerobic to aerobic. So plants are known as producers, which simply means they produce their own energy without the need of eating, for eating. In a way, they are cycle. Plants help humans breathe by providing us with oxygen, and humans help plants breathe by providing them with carbon dioxide that they are likely, that they will use for photosynthesis. This is the simple relationship. Plants absorb 100% of the energy from the sunlight, and this energy is transferred to herbivores and carnivores and all of us. Only 10% is needed for us. And after we die, decomposers will decompose us and use only 1% of the energy and add nutrient to the soil, and then the plant make use of what? Of the nutrient from the soil. Plant also release oxygen in the atmosphere and take back carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. As well, also, the animals take oxygen from the atmosphere and take back carbon dioxide, which is used by the plants. So this is the nutrient cycle, that the energy that is produced by that is captured by the 100% by the plant, now is transferred to the animals and the plant themselves. After they die, they decay, and then the energy cycle, plant make use of the nutrients of the dead decay carbon. Plants are really important for this planet, for all living organisms. Plants absorb carbon dioxide. Living things need plants for life, to live. They eat them and live in them. Plant helps to clean our water too. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, plants are central to our well-being, not only as food, but also as key component of our cultures, religions, and medicine. Without plants, we may not survive this planet. Imagine or you visualize a world without a single plant. It's impossible for any life to survive here. And that's why even in the Holy Quran, Prophet Ibrahim, after settling his descendant, part of his descendant in land like this, he prayed and said, Rabbi inni askantu min zurriyati biwadin ghayri dhi dar'in inda baytika al-muharram rabbana liqimu as-salah faj'al af'idatan min an-nasi tahwi ilayhim warzuqhum min ath-thamarat. That, oh Lord, I have settled some of my descendants in uncultivated valley near your sacred house. Our Lord, that may establish prayer. So make hearts among the people inclined towards them and provide them for the fruits that may be grateful. So even the desert, you can see scattered plants, because plants endure more harsh, more hostile environment than living organisms. In desert, hardly you find any living organism other than plants here and there. Plants scattered there. So you compare the first and the second with the grassland, which is filled up with the plants, and shrub land, shrub vegetation, and then finally the forest vegetation. And also the Holy Quran, we were taught the importance of fruits. Unzur ila thamarihi idha athmara wa yan'i. That look at each of it, the fruit, when it yields and ripening. Indeed, in that are signs for people who believe. So you can see some of the fruits that we mentioned, the ripe fruit, the millets, ripe fruits of dead plants. Even if you are not the owner of this farm, you feel happy by mere looking at it. The grapes and this and then that of matured sorghum, dawa. Photosynthesis, this were met. Layman appreciation of plants. Production of food for both humans and animals. Raw materials for industries, pharmaceuticals and fiber industries. Reliance on sustenance, farming for livelihood. Marketing plant products either in part or as whole. This is a business, medicinal plant business opportunities, Abeokuta market. This table also shows the leading country in exportation and importation of medicinal plants. As at 2006, Hong Kong was leading with about 60,000 metric tons. We also have business opportunities of the fruits, like Bodija market in Ibadan. You have also cereals markets, Giwa in Kaduna State, Nigeria, among others. So my choosing area of specialization, phytopathology, also known as plant pathology, is a branch of agricultural, biological, botanical science, which deals with the study of diseases in plants. That is scientific study of diseases, including causes, etiology, epidemiology, resulting causes, and management. Plant pathology related to many other sciences, such as mycology, virology, bacteriology, microbiology, physiology, chemistry, genetics, biotechnology, etc., all of which provide the knowledge required for the correct diagnosis and management of plant diseases. Concept of disease and disease triangle. Mr. Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, understanding of this concept, what we call plant disease triangle. If you understand it, you understand what plant or phytopathology is all about. And this plant disease triangle, knowingly or unknowingly, is something that we are doing in our day-to-day activity. You have the host plant, you have the pathogen and environment. There must be equal interaction. In other words, host must be susceptible to the pathogen. God in His wisdom, among the causal, because of the time, among the causal diseases, causal pathogen of plant diseases. Fungi takes about 70 to 80%. 70 to 80% of plant disease is caused by fungi. But God in His wisdom made these creatures to be host-specific, which means a particular group of fungi only attack a group of plants. If not, because of the numerous number of fungi, all the plants will be wiped out, and by extension, all of us will go. So there must be suitable host and also suitable pathogen. Even if there is suitable host, suitable pathogen, but if the environment is not suitable, disease may not occur. This is something that we are doing. Refrigerating of our food items is part of it, because all we eat contain these spores of these microorganisms, particularly the fungi, because fungi are the most successful of all living organisms in terms of number, because they are found almost everywhere. So that's what we do. In fact, the remains of your food that you are keeping to warm the following morning, if you don't have fridge, you find that our wives will open part of it. You are now destroying the environment for the saprophytes not to make use of your food. So that's what we do. In plant pathology, you either work on the environment, thereby destroying the pathogen, or directly on the host by selection that we are coming to see. You make a selection of germplasm for resistance, or you directly attack the pathogen, attack the weapon of the pathogen so that the disease may not occur. So also there is what we call time in addition to these factors. Time is very, very important, because no matter what, even if after controlling the environment, you allow your plant to be subjected to pathogen, even if the pathogen is not susceptible to the host plant, gradually the pathogen might mutate and change to attack your plants. And also, time is used to study the epiphytotic, what they call epidemic. Epiphytotic, that is continual infection leading to a change of pathogenicity, so that the plant can now, the pathogen that is not the same pathogen, because something that we are practicing, especially in agriculture. Shifting cultivation is part of it. By the time you are farming, say maize, after the following year you decide to maize is from Gramineae family, so it's a specific type of pathogens of plants attack Gramineae. So you can decide now to grow your cowpea so that the pathogens present there may not attack. So time is very, very important. And this time, not only for pathogenic, even the saprophytes, because the majority, another wisdom, the majority of fungi are saprophyte. Even the saprophyte, one has to be very careful. A story of a mycology professor from one of the Nigerian universities who used to smell the slides of fungi. His office is attached to the mycology laboratory. So anytime the student, instead of going molecular to identify fungi, since he's a professor of mycology, carelessly or arrogantly, they will just smell it and tell them this is Aspergillus acraceus, Aspergillus niger, Aspergillus flavus, and whatever you do, eventually you see. So eventually that professor collapsed overnight and he was rushed to hospital before he gave up. After conducting autopsies, they discovered that Aspergillus has grown and covered all his lungs, so that there is no space for breathing. I'm sorry for using the word arrogant. I'm sure this is online. Probably his loved ones may be watching us live. But I am more comfortable calling it arrogant than calling him ignorant, because he just thought that fungi can, ordinary saprophytic fungi cannot kill him, and eventually he is dead. So time is very, very important in disease. So these are some of the symptoms of plant disease. This is the systemic representation of basic functions in plant disease. You can see from your right all the possible symptoms of plant disease. All the possible symptoms of plant diseases, right from crown gall, blight, spots, rot, and whatever. And this, the other part is healthy. So sign and symptoms. Symptoms are the expression of the disease, expression of the decay, expression of the destruction of the tissue, while the signs are the pathogens themselves. Some of the pathogens are big enough. For example, Basidiomycetes, the spores, you can see them, that is in rust and the smooth fungi. You may see the spores and mistaking them to be symptoms. So plants have defensive mechanism, in fact more than that of animals. Why? Because plants have more enemies than the animals. Why? Because plants are producers, so all we depend on plant, and it's one of the growth population theory that says that the organisms that have more enemies are producing more than those that have less enemies. Just like fish and insects. You see, fish can produce over 1 million eggs, but how many do you think can, after hatching? And all of the 1 million might hatch, but how many of them can reach maturity and produce another egg? Very few, because many enemies within there, many enemies. So the same thing with the plant, they have so many enemies. So they have indirect defensive mechanism, one of which is the cryptic coloration, that is change of color, especially during the grazing period. Plant change color to avoid eaten by the herbivores, because causing wounds in the plant, meaning inviting trouble, inviting pathogens, spores to enter. Plants have hairiness, particularly in the most important part of them, that is the leaf, whereby the hairs might be very sharp. That's what they use in veterinary medicine, make use of the knowledge. I mean, employ botanists to identify the grasses that are free from hairy silica, so that they cannot formulate food feed that can cause injury to the digestive system of the animals. Waxiness and latability all are part of the anatomical modifications by the plant to prevent indirectly to prevent pathogens and preventing taking by animals. So also they have direct defensive mechanism, cell wall reaction, that is unusual thickness of cell wall so that the pathogen might not penetrate so easily. Cytoplasmic reaction, whereby once the pathogen is in the plant body, is in the cell content, the cytoplasmic content, particularly the important one, that is the nucleus, might hide somewhere, some part in the plant, so that the pathogen might be confused and the plant is safe. Sovereignization resistance also, deposition of severin to resist disease, together with lignification. Chemical reactions, that is phenolic compounds that we are likely to talk about them. So plants have also uniqueness in that they are autotrophs, which we say, they manufacture their own food. They are resilience, they are very, very resilient, so that any part of the plant that is removed can easily be replaced. So plants continue to grow throughout their life. Totipotency in plants, that is the ability of single cell, what is happening now in biotechnology, plant tissue culture. With single cell, you can multiply and produce the entire plant. That is plant cell culture, or you use it for any other thing, like cloverin or whatever. Plasticity, that is change in de-differentiation. Plants have the ability to de-differentiate or regenerate. Plants have long lifespan. Of course, as we said, plants continue to grow throughout their lifetime, and plant also endures extreme conditions and predations. After cutting part of the plant, the next month when we come, that will be replaced. So plants, for these reasons, the scientists encourage us to take more of plants than other food. Why? Because taking more of plant is believed that you are likely also for this thing to have long lifespan. I was in China. They valued plants more than rice. In fact, in some big restaurants, when you go, rice is complimentary, but you pay for the vegetables. And probably that's why China, they live much longer than Africans. We have a lot of them, but we don't use most of them. So plant disease management, also there are so many chemical, biological, and whatever, among which we are going to talk. So because of time, plant misuse, abuse, overuse, polluted, and molested in Nigeria and in Africa. So everybody who uses the wonders of science and engineering without thinking and having mentally realized not more than of it than a cow realizes of the botany of the plant which it eats with pleasure should be ashamed of himself or herself. So it's not a doomed future with reliance in botany. So my contributions to plant health and disease management. It is expedient at this time to pay tribute to those who had contributed greatly to my academic success and mentored me as I climbed the academic ladder. I recognize my mentor and father, Professor Sayyid Hussein Zarban Naqvi of blessed memory. As mentioned in my citation, the one who invited me from SCAS to take part-time appointment in 1991, he taught me how to set questions, how to draw marking scheme, how to compute result, how to draw graph of normal distribution of result. In fact, if you have, at that time he was telling me, you have 3 A's, you are likely to have 3 F's. 5 B's, 3 5D's, and then average, you have the majority there. So it's a very rewarding experience. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on him. Professor Y.Y. Karatela, who carefully supervised my BSc project at Bayero University, Kano in 1989. Professor A.C. Odebode, myself at the middle, and led A.O. Oladiron. They supervised my MSc at University of Ibadan. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, also Professor M.D. Magaji, Professor Hadi Ahmed Suberu, Dr. Mrs. Amina Abubakar supervised my PhD at Usman al-Fodio University. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my contribution towards plant health, disease management for survival of humankind is in the area of manipulation of the pathogen and its weapons of war to detriment of the pathogen and to the advantage of the entire human race. In order to carve a niche in my student career, I contributed meaningfully to the struggle. I worked on one of the most devastating diseases of the tropical crops, the pathogen responsible, the weapon of the pathogen, and finally manipulation of such weapons in favor of plant for the benefit of mankind. I also work on plant disease management through the use of available agricultural waste, such as sawdust, rice, and so on and so forth, by biological control, antagonistic microorganisms for the control of plant pathogens. Other areas, medicinal plants, potentials of many plants in wound infections, diseases management, oral hygiene and the use of plants, health benefit of Cola Nitida, Goro, pesticide, chemical residue in vegetable we consume, mycotoxin, particularly the aflatoxin that was detected in Sokoto back 2004. So anthracnose caused by the fungus called Platytropum species. In the tropical Africa and in fact the entire world, one of the most devastating diseases of crops is anthracnose caused by the fungus called Platytropum. Anthracnose is a group of fungal diseases that affect a variety of plants in warm and humid areas. The disease is found in a number of plants, including grasses, annuals. Anthracnose causes wilting, weathering, and dying of tissues. Pathogen is a threat to the cultivation of several foods and industrial crops, causing diverse types of symptoms ranging from spot to blight. The pathogen has been found associated with maize, sorghum, pepper, fruit, Muhammad Amusa 2004, coffee, soybean, Ajibadi, and Amusa 2004. Guava, fruits, Muhammad et al. 2005, melon, Muhammad, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the diseases. Before we go to see how we manage them. So this is A and B. A is mango and B is pepper. Then this is another plate showing the symptom, pawpaw and then tomato fruits. The disease is evident there. You see. We also have disease in the foliage, that is the anthracnose symptoms on yam leaves and cassava leaves as well. Symptoms on melon leaf and guava fruits, different symptoms of different seedlings, stem, leaf, pods, and so on and so forth. So many pathogens are known to produce toxins, both in vitro, that is outside the host, and in vivo, that is within the host. And those toxins have been implicated in symptom development on the other host tissue. Many of these phytotoxins metabolites, that is the toxins produced by the plant themselves, have also been extracted from diseased plant tissues. Based on the reaction of host crops to the toxic metabolites of the respective host, methods of rapid screening of germplasm for resistance to plant disease have been developed. Their application has successfully resulted in resistance lines in some tropical crops like cowpea, cassava, maize, yam, and soybean. Amusa Muhammad 2006, and these are the symptoms of these diseases. So I also work on the effect of soil amendment on the agricultural waste here, rice husks on fusarium weeds of green pepper, and the results have shown yield favorable of plant when organic manures are used as soil amendment in fusarium infected sites. This is the table showing that you have nearly, when you allow the compost to decompose, you have about 95% safe when you mix with rice husks. And these are the symptoms. These are the symptoms from watermelon. So organic matter was found to improve soil structure, texture, and plant nutrition. Evidence have shown that various types of compost suppress different soil-borne plant diseases. Green organic matter incorporated in the plant trench increases the general microbial activities which antagonize the streptomyces. Similarly, general rise in the soil amendment matter levels has also shown to give control to Phytophthora infestant. Muhammad Amanga, pre and post emergence dumping up in watermelon and cowpea caused by Pythium apanidamantum, caused to pre and post-emergence dumping of diseases caused by Rhizoctonia solani, and Pythium apanidamantum. 4 microorganisms known for their antagonistic behavior. That is, we make use of different species of bacillus to grow them along with the along with the pathogens, and they show favorable results. So this is the table showing the inhibition zones caused by those incorporated antagonistic microorganisms, that is bacteria. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, because of time, permit me to digress a little from pure phytopathology to other areas of botany and biological sciences. Medicinal plants. At least 19 medicinal plants have been identified in the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran is regarded as both spiritual and behavioral guidance for all Muslims. Islamic medicine introduced from Prophet Adam alayhi salam was completed and Prophet Muhammad is the opening, but discovery and collection of this medicinal is still continual after the death of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam throughout the world. Habiba et al. So natural products have interesting and useful biological activities. They also perform various functions. I work on potentials of Lysonia enemies and management of both plants and animal infections and diseases. The use of Lysonia enemies in the management of bone wounds infection was investigated in 2005. So henna lalle is not only meant for beautification, but also is medicinal. So the extracts of the henna were able to inhibit the growth pattern of Aspergillus niger, Fusarium, Streptococcus aureus, were all inhibited by the extracts of the microorganisms, of the henna. Oral hygiene and the use of plants. Cleanliness is an important part of Islam, including Holy Quran verses that teaches how to achieve ritual cleanliness. Keeping oral hygiene through cleaning the teeth with the use of a form of toothbrush called miswak is considered sunnah. That is the way of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you have customized ready-made chewing sticks, which we work on. Good oral hygiene is necessary for the healthy teeth, gum, and fresh breath. A number of methods are used in oral hygiene to prevent and cure oral diseases. It is important to look at plants' role in oral hygiene, as a number of them have medicinal properties. So these are different. So anywhere you go, you find in the garage, filling station, especially in the south, they are making it as a means of business, selling the toothpaste. So this natural trick is known for its health and medicinal benefit. I work on various plant diseases used as chewing sticks and traditional oral hygiene. Benefits of kola nut. Our pilot study revealed that people chewing kola nut may hardly have any problem with teeth decay bacteria, that is odontopathogens. An 80-year-old man chewing kola will have his 10 teeth intact, strong and healthy. The only disadvantage, they may stain red. So this is some of this. So kola nut is the fruit of the kola, this and that. The kola nut fruit is called chod, go to the actual. So throughout West Africa, so our studies on phytochemical evaluation and antibacterial properties of 2 varieties of kola in Nigeria showed that the result revealed the presence of ornithine and coumarin in red kola and in white kola, respectively. The results obtained indicate that nitida, that is the variety of kola, which possesses promising protective antibacterial potentials, respectively, that will be useful against odontopathogens. That is the pathogens that causes decay, teeth decay. Pesticides and chemical residues detection in vegetables survey from Sokoto markets. We work extensively on that, and the result shows that virtually all the vegetables we consume contain one form of chemical residue or the other. The reason being that the method of plant disease control in Nigeria and other African countries, there is no regulation, or the regulation exists but we don't apply it. So you can spray your plant any time of the day, anytime you want, the concentration, the nozzles you use and whatever, so that innocently the wind can blow some of these chemicals to especially the succulent plants, that is the vegetables. So most of the vegetables we consume, they contain one form of residual or the other. So liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry in order to know the concentration. So the result shows that all the samples contain pesticide residues. And the good news is that washing all your fruits and vegetables with just 2% of salt will remove most of the contact pesticide residues that normally appear on the surface of the vegetables and fruits. So almost about 70 to 80% of that residues will be removed by simply washing these vegetables with 2% water concentration. So the vegetables provided they are with you, you can comfortably take them because we have already treated them with 2% salt concentration. So mycotoxins, that is another problem with the vegetables we consume. Mycotoxins are the toxins produced by fungi, and the notorious among them is aflatoxin, produced by Aspergillus flavus. So our studies reveals that rotten tomatoes commercialized, sold and consumed in Sokoto repeatedly, aflatoxin, or starting with Aspergillus flavus is there. And after further studies, aflatoxin is detected. And aflatoxin is very, very poisonous and difficult to handle in that it's not denatured by heat. Experiments showed that even after heating aflatoxin for 180 degrees for 3 hours, it's still not denatured. Meaning that if you buy rotten tomato, no matter how you heat, no matter how you cook your soup, you are consuming with what? Aflatoxin. And this aflatoxin causes, it macerates liver cells, it causes cancer, it macerates liver cells leading to liver cirrhosis. So those of us fond of eating in the out restaurants because of the economic impact of the country, most restaurants, in fact even people used to buy a rotten tomato mixed with the clean one, fresh one, blend it and prepare their soup. So you'll be eating your soup with aflatoxin, and aflatoxin is carcinogenous. So our studies reveal that many people prepare to buy rotten tomatoes because it's cheaper than healthy ones. Many others due to either ignorance or poverty level in the land. Most Nigerians prefer these types of food materials without minding the consequences of taking them. Okay? Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, in this lecture I tried to get you through to appreciate what plants and botany is all about, without attempting to make you a botanist in 1 hour. I have not only refreshed your mind on the importance of plant health for the survival of mankind, but try to impress it on you that plants are central to our well-being, not only as food, but also as key components of our culture, religious, and medicine. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I have no regrets, or I have never regretted being a phytopathologist. At least 3 of my several students who had passed through my tutelage are already professors in Nigerian university, with 4 of them as associate professors, that is readers, and about a score of them as senior lecturers. I serve as external examiner at master's, PhD levels in many universities within and outside the country. Besides, I am currently supervising 7 PhDs, 11 master's students, and serve co-editor to many journals. My future plans. My future plan is to face the challenges of introduction and spread of pathogens to new locations, that is epidemiological study. Biological control, utilization of introduced or resident living organisms other than disease-resistant host plant to suppress activities and population of 1 or more pathogens. Extraction of phenolic compounds from many plant species and separation of active ingredients in large commercial quantity is important for formulating biopesticides against plant pathogens and to replace synthetic toothpaste in oral hygiene. Challenges of integration of medicinal plants into healthcare system. My rough rides through life. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, they said every successful person has a painful story. Every painful story has a successful ending. So accept the pain and get ready for success. At my secondary school level, in my family of 34, I was the only person that proceeded to secondary school, the then higher school. It was not easy for me. In fact, I attempted running away to Zaria to reach Quranic Al-Majri school. So another experience is my undergraduate days at Bayero University, specifically 1985. So the very day I arrived, all my belongings, all my money and belongings were stolen, and I have no means of 10 naira we used to pay from Sokoto to Kano, or 25 naira air tickets then. So I remember I had to trek severally from BUK outside Kabuga to Teshakuka, about distance of about 7 kilometers, several days to see. There was no means of communication then to tell home that this is what is happening to me. So at a point, I stopped at a construction site. May Allah reward you with alternative results. My master's degree program, Mr. Vice Chancellor, I had several terrible, bitter experiences, but consider it as life experience in my master's degree at the University of Ibadan. Another one memorable occasion I cannot forget was one conference I attended at University of Ibadan, at University of Port Harcourt, in 1999, together with Mr. B.L. Aleru, myself, and Malan Umar. It was a very terrible experience. We were taken as hostage in a hotel. And after regaining our freedom, we marched with armed robbers on our way back to Sokoto. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved us, and today I am narrating the story. I had several of such memorable occasions, but reserve them for our young ones, junior colleagues, and our students. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, ladies and gentlemen, the lesson to learn from my story is that you must know that there is a road that leads to success, and this road is not very straight. On this road, there is a curve called failure, a loop called confusion, speed bumps called friends, red lights called enemies, caution lights called family. You will have flats called jobs. But if you have a spare called determination, an engine called perseverance, insurance called faith, and a driver called Almighty Allah, you will make it to a place called success and become whatever you want to become, irrespective of your background. So my humble advice to the young ones is that they should make Allah as priority, not an option. Thoughts of wisdom on this: destiny and this determination can make anyone successful, but both need action. But prayer without action is a daydream, and action without prayer is a nightmare. God is not an option. He is a priority. He is not a destination. You must travel with Him. Do not go to God only when you are hungry. Eat with Him. Udus, my alma mater. Let me seize this opportunity to pray that may Almighty Allah direct the visitor to the university, President Muhammadu Buhari, the amiable Chairman of the Council, Senator Alhaji Ibrahim Ida, OON, Sardaunan Katsina, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Lawali Suleiman Bilbis, and the principal officers of the university on ways to lead this university to a greater height. I would like to plead that efforts should be made, should be geared towards transforming this great university to a standard that is creditable in relation to world-class training centers. UDUS, formerly University of Sokoto, established by federal government in 1975, the university has made names through the achievements of her products, with many of them occupying excited positions across the globe. In the academia, this university has produced so many professors, some of which are even appointed and serving in other parts of the world, including the United Nations. My very self is a testimony that this great university has been offering meaningful academic training since its inception to date. The entire public must take note that certificates ever awarded by this university are standard. I am particularly proud to be a distinguished professor of botany whose foundation was from this university, and by the grace of Allah, attained the peak of my career at a record time. I am also appealing to all members of alumni and the greatest Stanfordites to pay back by immensely contributing their quota in money or kind to enable this university reach greater height. There should be synergy between members of alumni with the management of the university. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me to use this opportunity in this August gathering to announce my humble donation, my humble donation of 1,000 seedlings of plants. Through Alumni Association, with the breakdown as follows: 300 medicinal plants, 300 fruits trees, and another 400 ornamental plants. Conclusions and recommendations. So the survival of mankind strictly depends on the continued existence of green plants. Microorganisms stand as principal enemies of plants and by implication of man, competing with him and depleting the available materials for industrial food and so on and so forth. Our work is the presentation of our capabilities to get to know, to discover, to publish. This is the destiny of a scientist. So let us do it well. Recommendations: federal, state, and local governments should invest in research and development of indigenous herbicide, insecticide, fungicide using phytotoxins. Amendment of legislation by National Assembly on NAFDAC that prohibit the sale of counterfeit tech drugs and unwholesome processed food, to cover rotten and unprocessed food like rotten vegetables. Vegetables consumed can further limit their intake of pesticide residues by peeling or washing fruits and vegetables with 2% of salt water, which also reduce other foodborne hazards, such as harmful bacteria. Acknowledgement. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, foremost, my profound and earnest gratitude goes to Almighty Allah for His multifarious favors of me and my may peace and blessing be showered upon His Prophet Muhammad. I find words inadequate to express my indebtedness and respect to my respected teachers who helped me in understanding the subject. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, this lecture cannot end without my showing gratitude to many people that have contributed in one way or the other towards my advancement in life. My parents, may Allah reward them with Al-Jannatul Firdaus. Botany family, specifically my senior colleagues, Professor B.L. Aleru and Malam A.M. Umaru. Professor B.L. Aleru encouraged us to attend conferences and lead us attending conferences. Malam A.M. Umaru, who is right now on his hospital bed, we pray Almighty Allah for his speedy recovery. Also, others, junior colleagues, we have Professor A.A. Aleru, popularly known as Aleru Junior, Caterpillar Sarkin Aiki. I have a lot of respect to A.A. Aleru. They said respect is reciprocal. So when I was the head of botany 2003, head of department of biological sciences 2007, Aleru has never on my request. So Aleru will never complain, even right now. So thank you very much, Professor A.A. Aleru. A.M. Gumi is the departmental soldier. A.M. Gumi is the departmental soldier, and entire members of biological sciences this time. Finally, I acknowledge the contribution of my students, both undergraduate and postgraduate, past and present. Thank you all. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you for listening. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you very much.